Hello, I'm back again with another board game review, and the next game on my list is Arkham Horror. Arkham Horror is a game set in the Cthulhu, the Lovecraftian universe of Cthulhu, where you are, it's a cooperative game where you are working together to try and stop an ancient old one, big demonic-y alien type creature, from destroying the world or taking over the world or basically rising and fucking shit up. I can't talk about this without basically talking about Lovecraft. I kind of feel that if you are a fan of Lovecraft, who created the Cthulhu mythos, then you kind of have to be into board games. Because for whatever reason, there are so many board game adaptations of his work. I'm not sure why. I mean, if I had to guess, the unambiguously free-to-own nature of his work. Lovecraft himself said that he wanted his works to be free of like whatever copyright issues or whatever, and just wanted people to be able to use his ideas. He said that. So his work is unambiguously, you can use Cthulhu. There's nothing to stop you from using Cthulhu. He wanted people to be able to use that. So it is basically a free theme essentially. So if people are looking for it's easy enough to use it. But even despite that, there's very few adaptations anywhere else, like movies. There's a few movies and stuff, but nothing you'll probably even heard of. And yeah, it's just basically, I mean, he's inspired a lot, Lovecraft has, but there's not that many direct adaptations except in board games, which is kind of bizarre. Really not clear why that is. It just seems, I don't know, it just seems to have just, and there's quite a few which will appear later on my list that are inspired again by Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos. But yeah, no, I don't know why that is, but I don't know, it's interesting. As I say, Arkham Horror is a cooperative game set in the town of Arkham, where players working together to try and close gates to these other worlds. Once the players have sealed all the gates, or if they've placed a certain number of elder signs, which are mystical symbols, on the board, they win and the creature is repelled. This is quite easily one of the heavier games that I own. It's fairly complex, there's quite a lot going on. It's a game, I would categorize this as a game that I couldn't get my girlfriend to play, let's put it that way. The game takes place in Lovecraft's fictional town of Arkham. As you can see here, it's broken up in different districts. So we have the Uptown, which has got the hospital and the woods in it, and then the Miskatonic University. Every district is colour-coded. We'll go through that why in a second. You've got Downtown at the top here, which has got the famous Arkham Asylum in it. That's obviously been used in Batman and various other things. Each player gets a unique character. They have their own stats and abilities. They have some unique powers just to them and starting equipment. You also get a little standee for your character, so that's how you place yourself on the board, and you move around the board using that standee, so you interact with various locations. That works thusly. If I want to go to the library, so I move there, I need to take the yellow deck, because it's in the yellow district. And then turn over the top card and look for the library section. So the library overdue book fines, pay $4 or move to the street. That's not so bad. If I haven't got $4, I just get thrown out of the library. That's not too bad at all. But it could be something more interesting. So if I turn this one over, what have we got? So you find an unusual book that radiates evil at the touch. You begin to read and are drawn into it. That's not so good. So make a lore check, which is one of the skills. And if you fail, the book consumes you, mind and soul. Well, that's no good. You get eaten by a book or mentally consumed by a book. That could be a bit more dangerous than a simple fine for late returns. The board also has this Otherworld section, which is a number of spaces for other dimensions or other worlds that can be opened to. They open by gateways will open on the board to these other worlds. If you move into them, you are sucked through into that dimension, where you have to move through, encountering some unique events there. If you manage to escape, then you get back to the real world, and once you've escaped, you can use an action to close the gate, close the portal to the other world, and take it as a gate trophy. Why would you do this? Why are these gates appearing? Well, that's because of these guys. We've got Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep, Azathoth there. He just wants to destroy the world. That's all he wants to do, is destroy everything. Shub-Niggurath we can see here. Loads of others. We've got the King in Yellow himself there. You only have one old one in play each game, and when a portal opens, that old one gains Doom on their little Doom track, these little Doom counters on their Doom track. If they ever fill up, which is 12 in the case of Shub-Niggurath here, then he raises and the players have to fight him. In that instance, a battle will begin. We can see here that at the start of battle, any investigator with no monster trophies is devoured. And then every time he attacks, you have to discard a monster trophy, or you are devoured. He also has physical immunity, which means that only magical weapons can hurt him. But as it says on him, he needs to discard monster trophies. So what's a monster trophy? Well, every time a gate opens, a number of monsters will appear. Monsters appear in various other ways as well, but this is the most common way. You have a cultist there, a Migo, a Chthonian, and then a star spawn. So when a player then has to move into the space containing the monster, then you flip over a monster to fight it, you'll see that it does a number of sanity damage because it's scary. It'll do a number of physical damage when it attacks. Then it's got its health in the middle, which is how many hits you have to do to it to kill it. When you kill it, you take the token as a trophy, and it's worth a number of points equal to its health. That one will be a 3, for example. In addition, we have this terror track at the bottom of the board, which will increase if there are ever too many monsters in play. So as more monsters are scared, and then the townsfolk start fleeing. If it ever gets to 3, the shops start closing, and so the shop closes at 3. The specialist shop closes at 6, and then the magic shop closes at 9. And then if you ever reach 10, the town is overrun with monsters, and there's no longer any limit on how many monsters can be in the town, and so you could be in real trouble then. In addition, every round we're going to draw one of these mythos cards. So you flip the top card of the deck over, and it has a unique effect on the game for that round, or possibly for longer than the round. So this one, you have an estate sale, so if you finish in the uptown streets, you may draw 2 unique items and purchase them. So somebody in uptown is selling off all their cool stuff, presumably because they're too scared to live here anymore and they want to get out. Another one, we have icy conditions. Investigators receive 1 less movement during the movement phase. That could be quite awkward. That's the weather that stays in play. We then have a solar eclipse. Due to the interference of the solar eclipse, no spells may be cast. That could be very awkward for a round. Repair of reputations. Another one to players who are cursed, have outstanding bank loans and things. And then the Southside Strangler suspected. Southside Strangler it comes up on a few cards. This one will place 2 monsters into the south side streets because they're busy murdering people. That could be quite nasty and awkward. There's a few other elements, but that's the basic overview of the game. Do I like this game? Yes, massively. I don't get to play it very often. It's not an enormous hit in my group, but I think that's largely because it takes a very long time to play. It can be a very long game. This can easily take you 4 hours to play. As a result, I found that it plays probably better with less people. 3 is quite a good number, just because it's quicker. So you really have to set aside some time, and you have to be in the mood to play it. I also have the one expansion for it. I have the King in Yellow expansion based on the book by Robert Chambers about the play that drives you mad. I haven't read it, so I don't know. It's on my to-read list. But yeah, I have that expansion. I really like that because it adds a kind of a madness and a number of other effects to the game, which are quite fun, and adds quite a little bit of theme, which I really like. I'm a big fan of the King in Yellow as he appears in most of the other games as well. The mythos is matched, but it seems to have come into, in board game terms, they seem to basically be one and the same now. The King in the Yellow just goes with the Cthulhu mythos in everything. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what the historical reference to that is. I could Google it, but I haven't. But yeah, no, it all comes together. So that's Arkham Horror, slightly more complex, more in-depth, longer sort of role-playing type game. If you want something deeper and longer, I find the game very immersive. But if you want to sit down for a sort of deep, immersive, well-themed game, then I thoroughly recommend Arkham Horror. I really like it. It has a ton of expansions out, and critically it has been semi-replaced by a game called Eldritch Horror, which is basically the same game. It's a little bit more streamlined, I guess, and it's a little bit more expansive. It takes place across the world. This just takes place in the city of Arkham, as you saw, but this takes place across this Eldritch Horror takes place across the whole world, and it's got a bit more. I don't know. I guess there's a few elements that are a little bit more interesting. It's got a little bit more going on, and some of its elements are quite good. I've heard it said that Eldritch Horror is a quicker, more streamlined version. I didn't find that when I played it. I did enjoy Eldritch Horror a lot, but I didn't find it was particularly quicker or made more sense than Arkham Horror. You certainly forge a story in Eldritch Horror. Your character has a path, and the events that happen to them are relatively unique. And the first time I played, I got accused of a murder that I didn't do, sent to prison, and then whilst in prison I ended up actually killing somebody. And kind of the stories evolve that way. And your characters die and go insane, and that affects the story again. So Eldritch Horror is very good. For me, it doesn't replace Arkham Horror. I think they're different enough. I don't own Eldritch Horror, but they're different enough for them to both be valid. But I wasn't blown away by Eldritch Horror, as many people have. Many people have just said that it replaces it, but like I say, it doesn't for me. I hope you thought that was interesting. If that game intrigues you, please do look it up. I will be back again next week with some more. I'm going to talk next week at some point about how I'm trying to get some structure to this channel. I'm going to be advertising the channel like crazy on Twitter and things, and I will be looking to, I guess, sort of knuckle down and have a formed plan. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and post a link and whatever else, and let me know what you thought. And yeah, I need to get like an outro. I need to write an outro and have it in my head for these, because I just don't know what to say when it gets to this point. But that's what I will say, and that is the end.